So Maliss is finally in Master Duel, and for those of you who are lucky enough, or just, I guess, rich enough to already own this deck, since every fucking card in here is like a UR that you need multiple copies of, Jesus Christ, I've got a combo guide for you. And from this video, I'm going to be showing you what I think are the lesser used and the lesser known combos with Maliss, since most combos you're going to see people playing with Maliss right now are going to involve playing 2 cards. Mainly Neo Tempest, Firewall Dragon Dark Fluid, Neo Tempest Terahertz, and TB Maliss C TB-11, this trap card. I'm going to be showing you the combos that do not utilize Terahertz and don't require you to run TB-11 in your deck. Now, I'm not going to say that it's wrong to run these. You can obviously run the Terahertz package and the TB-11 if you want, but I just want to show like you options to where if you don't want to play these cards in your deck, for example, if you want to like save 3 extra deck slots and you don't want to spend them on Terahertz plus the save from a Mirror Logic Aggregator, and if you want to cut a brick from your main deck and not have to run TB-11, then I'm going to show you those combos. Since TB-11, this is like not a complete Garnet or complete brick. It can help you dodge interruption with other starters, but obviously this is not a starter by itself. It's a trap card, so it's bad going second. And in general, like you usually don't want to actually draw this card. So yeah, if you want to cut this brick and the Terahertz, this video is for you. So yeah, first the main combo, the combo that's going to be most affected by not playing TB-11 is going to be the 1-card Maliss White Rabbit combo. So we're going to start with that. So you're going to normal summon Maliss and White Rabbit, and Maliss White Rabbit's effect, when it's summoned, you get to set a trap from your deck. So we're going to set MTP-07. If you ran TB-11, you would set TB-11 here. But since I'm going to be showing you the combos that don't require you to run this card, we're going to be setting MTP-07 from deck instead. So yeah, now we're going to use MTP-07, and these trap cards on the turn they're set, you can use them on the turn they're set by banishing a Maliss monster. So you're going to banish the White Rabbit, and MTP-07 is going to add hair to your hand. And then all your Maliss monsters, when they're banished, they have an effect to where when they're banished, you can special summon them back. So basically, you pay a little bit of life points, then you special summon them back to the field. So yeah, it's basically free. And then March Hare is basically like a in archetype Bystial. You can banish a Maliss card from your hand or graveyard. So usually you're going to be banishing a card from graveyard because that's free, and then you can special summon this from hand. So this is like an in archetype extender / Bystial. And you're going to use March Hare, and you're going to March Hare, banish the MTP-07 from your grave that you just used, the special summon March Hare, and then Maliss and the 2 monsters you have here, White Rabbit plus March Hare, you're going to go into Splash Mage, and then you're going to use Splash Mage. You're going to special back, doesn't really matter which one, because you're just going to immediately link it off into your Red Ransom. Red Ransom is usually the first Maliss Link monster that you go through. So you usually go through like 3 Maliss Link monsters during your combo, and in a specific order. So usually you go Red Ransom first, and then you're going to use Red Ransom when this card is special summoned. You get to add a Maliss spell card from your deck to your hand. So we're going to add Maliss Underground. Then we're going to use Maliss and Underground. And when Maliss and Underground is activated, you can banish a Maliss card from your deck, grave, or hand. So we're going to banish Dormouse from hand since we didn't get access to it at the start. And when Dormouse is banished, just like every other Maliss monster, you get to special summon it back. And Dormouse is like the best Maliss card. It's also the best card to start with. But yeah, we're going to use Dormouse effect. You can banish a Maliss monster. So we're going to banish Chessy Cat. And then that's going to that's going to trigger Chessy Cat to special summon itself. And here, Chessy Cat has an effect too, where if you have a Maliss card, you can banish a Maliss card from your hand, then draw 2 cards. So basically, this is Pot of Greed. And we do have a Maliss card in our hand, Maliss the Mirror, so you can banish Maliss the Mirror and draw 2 cards. This is just a 1-card combo, so we're going to pretend that the other 4 cards in our hand, besides the White Rabbit, were blanks. But just know that if you do have another Maliss card in your hand, that you can use Chessy Cat to banish it, then just get a free draw 2 as well. But yeah, next you're going to link your Chessy Cat into your link decoder, and then you're going to link all 3 of these into White Binder. White Binder is usually the second Maliss Link monster that you make during your combo. And White Binder, when it's special summoned, you get to banish up to 3 cards from the graveyards. So you're going to banish Red Ransom and Dormouse, that's the important ones, and then you can banish anything else. It doesn't really matter. You don't have to banish the 3rd card. If your opponent has like a random hand trapping graveyard, you can banish that as well if you want. But yeah, just make sure for this combo you banish Red Ransom plus Dormouse. And then obviously the Link Decoder is going to trigger as well to special summon itself back. So yeah, Link Decoder. And then banish Red Ransom plus Dormouse. Red Ransom, much like every other main deck Malice monster, also can special summon itself when it's banished. So the Red Ransom comes back, and when it's special summoned this way, you can banish a Malice monster from... You can banish a Malice monster from your deck, or a Cyber's monster, but we only run Malice monsters. So here we're going to banish Hair, another copy of Hair. And when Hair is banished, unlike the other Malice monster names, Hair is the one where if it gets banished, you get to add a Malice monster from your deck, from your banished your hand instead of special summon it. So we're going to add that Hair back to our hand. Just as follow-up, and then you're going to use Malice White Binder effect. You can set a Malice trap from your deck or graveyard, and we're going to reset we're going to set the GWC from deck. And next, we're going to link all 3 into Malice, the Cryptor, Heart Cryptor, the other link 3. And this card is a non-targeting banish. You can target one of your banished Malice cards. So banish either of these 2. You're going to target one of your banished Malice cards, shuffle it back in the deck, and then you can non-targeting banish a card on the field. And in fact, for this combo, we're actually going to use this effect right now. So we're going to use Archcryptor. We're going to shuffle back MTP-07. That's very important. And you're going to banish itself because, again, like every other Malice monster, when it gets banished, you can just special summon it back for free. And it gains, when it's special summoned back, it also gains attack. Since when Archcryptor is special summoned after being banished, it doubles its attack, and Dormouse gives all of our Malice monsters another 600 attack for return, so now it's at 5600. We put it in this link zone because it has another part of its effect where its banished effect, it can't be negated if it points to a monster. So if your opponent messes up and randomly wants to put a monster in this EMZ, then they also make it so your Archcryptor can't get negated. And yeah, this is the end board, so it's Archcryptor and GWC with a White Binder and a Red Ransom engrave, which this may look unassuming. This doesn't look like much, I know, especially if you don't know anything about this deck, but this is actually a lot of interruptions. And keep in mind, like, this was a 1-card combo, so we have 4 other cards in hand, plus a Archer in hand. So we do have like up to 4 other hand traps, which you basically do in this hand, and then on top of this board. So you're gonna pass to your opponent's turn, and to show like what you do with this board, so your opponent does whatever. Our opponent's playing the Scarlet Barn Bobbin, whatever, send a Pyro Monster, the graveyard, send Volcanic Emperor, and I get more damage. So like this is actually kind of a weird matchup where they're playing a burn deck versus a deck that plays life points, but yeah, let's wait for our opponent to do something. I just want to show what you do. So they're going to Rocket, add whatever Blaze Accelerator. So here you can use your GWC. So GWC, you're ideally going to use it to reborn your White Binder. When White Binder gets special summoned, you get to gain life points back, and then when White Binder is special summoned, you get to banish up to 3 cards. So White Binder, you can banish whatever in your opponent's graveyard. So let's say any of these have great effects, so let's just banish the Volcanic Emperor, and then make sure one of your banishes, you banish your White Rabbit or your Red Ransom. In this case, I'll just show that you can banish both with the White Binder and banish one of our opponent's cards. And yeah, so we get to eat their graveyard. And then when Red Ransom and White Rabbit are banished, they have effects to trigger the special summon themselves back, so we're going to special both of these back during our opponent's turn, by the way. So yeah, here comes the Red Ransom, and here comes the banish the Chessy Cat, and then some of the White Rabbit, and then that's going to trigger all 3 of these again. So we're going to use White Rabbit's effect, Chainlink 1, and use Red Ransom effect, Chainlink 2, and then the Chessy Cat that we just banished off the Red Ransom, we can use the Chessy Cat, and it's gonna banish it, special summon itself back to the field. So we get the Chessy Cat, and then Red Ransom, add a Maliss and Underground for follow-up, and then White Rabbit is the most important one. So when White Rabbit is special summon, we're gonna set a trap card from our deck. So we're gonna set the MTP-07 that we put back on our turn with Heartscriptor. We're gonna set the MTP-07. And now MTP-07, you can use this on the turn that it's set by banishing a Maliss monster. So you're going to use MTP-07, and you can banish your White Binder. Specifically, banish your White Binder. The sequencing is important. So you're going to White Binder, add another card to hand for follow-up. And then, because we control a Maliss Link monster, we can banish another card in the field. So we're going to banish our opponent's monster. And next, we're going to use White Binder effect. Because White Binder was now banished, we can special summon White Binder back, and we get to draw another card from deck. So now we have 8 cards in hand. That's nice, right? 8 cards in hand. Yeah, we're just gonna use Heartscriptor to put back the Dormouse, and we're gonna banish our opponent's card as well. So yeah, that sequencing is important. So yeah, our opponent's turn ends, and we start our turn with 5 monsters on board and 9 cards in hand. Isn't that just lovely? So yeah, our field turned from 2 cards into a full field of monsters, and we added like 2 to 3 cards to our hand. We drew a card off White Binder. So like that sequencing was important, how you used interruptions. So like the ideal case is use GWC revive White Binder, remove our opponent's graveyard, banish the White Rabbit, or like banish a Red Ransom. Keep in mind we also had a March Hare in hand. March Hare can be used on our opponent's turn. We can also have used March Hare to banish our White Rabbit or Red Ransom if we wanted to banish an additional card off the White Binder. Then when obviously when the White Rabbit gets banished, we get to set MTP-07. MTP-07 is yet another banish, and then the MTP-07 also banishes the White Binder, which then the White Binder summons itself back, and we get to draw another card. And then we also have the banish from the Heartscriptor. And again, this is a deck that plays tons of hand traps. So you can see we have, among the 9 cards that we have in hand, we have like 5 of these cards are non-engine as well. So yeah, even though it looks, the handboard looked unassuming, I mean, in reality, it's like you're probably not probably going to be able to play through your board plus all the hand traps that you run in your deck and that you can draw as well. And like that's another reason why people have been wanting to not run Terahertz, because honestly, even without the Terahertz on the end board, like you don't need the Terahertz on the end board when you have all of that shit to begin with. So yeah, that's just the 1 card White Rabbit combo without using TB-11, the 3rd Maliss trap card, and without using a Terahertz on the end board. So next we're going to be doing the 1 card Dormouse combo, and as you play this deck, you're going to realize that Dormouse is basically the best card and the best starter in the deck. Every combo that starts with Dormouse is infinitely better than the ones that don't. And like, just the Dormouse by itself already plays through Nibiru and Ash. So yeah, this card is crazy. But yeah, let's show how crazy it is. So we're going to normal summon Dormouse. You're going to use Dormouse effect. You're going to banish March Hare. Then when March Hare is banished, March Hare adds itself to its hand. So like, so Dormouse essentially searched March Hare without playing the Droll, because that's what this deck needed, just more ways to not lose to hand traps. Then you're gonna link the Dormouse into Decoder. And next you're gonna use the March Hare that you just added, you're going to banish the Dormouse and Grave. And you're gonna special the March Hare. And that's gonna trigger the Dormouse that just got banished to special summon itself back. And now with all 3 of these, you're going to link all 3 of these into your Red Ransom. And then you're going to do Chainlink 1, Red Ransom, and Chainlink 2, Link Decoder. Link Decoder is going to special itself back. And then Red Ransom is going to add Maliss and Underground to hand. Now, before activating Maliss and Underground, Link, just do this, because we're in playing Master Duel, and we're the only format out of TCG, OCG, and Master Duel to be able to still do this. So yeah, we're gonna make an Appaloosa. So yeah, that's fantastic. Appaloosa before we have to even worry about playing into Ash or any other hand trap. Isn't that great? So yeah, now that we have Appaloosa on the field, before we do basically any of our main combo, now we can activate Underground. And Maliss and Underground, we're going to banish Maliss and the Mirror from our deck. And when Maliss and the Mirror is banished, you can target a Maliss card in your graveyard, banish it. So we're going to Mirror, banish Red Ransom. And then we're going to add our White Rabbit to hand. And then because Red Ransom was banished by Maliss and Mirror, Red Ransom can special summon itself back. And when Red Ransom is special back by this way, we banish another card from our deck. So we're going to banish Chessy Cat. And when the Chessy Cat gets banished, the Chessy Cat is going to special summon itself back. And then the Chessy Cat is a stupid. We can use Chessy Cat. We're going to banish the White Rabbit that we just searched to draw 2 cards. So Pot of Greed, nice. And then we're going to use White Rabbit, and we're going to special summon the White Rabbit back. And now when White Rabbit is special summoned, White Rabbit will set our GWC. And next, we can link our Chessy Cat and our White Rabbit in order to make our Splash Mage. Splash Mage revive literally anything, does not matter which one. And then Splash Mage plus whatever you revive can go into White Binder. And then White Binder, you don't have to use White Binder's effect here. And we're going to use our GWC. GWC is going to banish White Binder. And then going to reborn our Rabbit. Although, again, it doesn't really matter which one. And then we're going to gain life points, and then White Binder is going to special summon itself back. And since it's special summoned back, we get to draw another card. So we drew 3 cards. And then, again, if you want to banish something from your opponent's graveyard, if your opponent has a random hand trap, you can, but you don't have to banish anything. And then you're going to use White Rabbit's effect. You're going to reset the GWC that you just used. And then you're going to link your 3 Maliss monsters, Rabbit, Red Ransom, and White Binder into Heart Scripter. And yeah, now this is your end board. So this is like the end board with the 1 card White Rabbit, except we also have an Appaloosa on the field. So yeah, that's nice. And we drew the TB-11, which is fine because as you saw in the previous one, we were going to use White Binder to revive, to banish the White Rabbit, and the White Rabbit would set the TB-11 anyways. But yeah, we can just set this, and then on our opponent's turn, we also keep in mind we drew 3 cards. Okay, we drew 3 cards as well. So yeah, we have 4 hand traps in hand on the top of Appaloosa. And yeah, on our opponent's turn, like, I mean, our opponent can try to play, but I mean, they're not going to be able to play. Yeah, the Volcanic Rocket. Okay, no, whoops, I toggled off there. Toggled off, whatever. Also keep in mind that the field spell has text, so opponent's gonna Blaze Accelerate or whatever. Yeah, our Maliss Underground has text. While you control a Maliss Link monster, your opponent can only target Maliss Link monsters for attack. So this Volcanic Rocket you see right here has 1900 attack. It can't attack over the Appaloosa because they cannot attack the Appaloosa. We have a Heart Scripter on the field, so they can only attack the Heart Scripter right now. And you know, when we revive the GWC, or we use GWC to revive the White Binder, they still cannot attack over the Appaloosa either. So okay, I'm about to just fire off my interruption just to do it. Yeah, Volcanic Trooper, nice. Yeah, we're gonna negate it. So again, to the GWC sequencing, so we're going to use GWC. GWC can revive the White Binder. use the white binder, banish whatever from our opponent's graveyard, and then banish like our rabbit and our red ransom. And then it's gonna trigger all that stuff again, so white rabbit, and then red ransom. And some of these back. And then you can banish another card, so we can banish a March Hare, white rabbit, special itself back. And trigger all 3. Red ransom. Then March Hare can add the March Hare back to our hand as well. And then the red ransom can add us our follow-up Malice and Underground. The white rabbit will now reset. We'll set the MTP-07, but because we drew it. But if you ran TB-11 here, you could set the TB-11 here right now. But I'm just saying the MTP-07 would work just fine. And then you can use your trap card. You can use your trap card that you set this turn to banish your white, like white binder. Pretend this is MTP-07 because we hard drew it. So hard drawing the MTP-07 costs us exactly 1 draw, which, you know, in the grand scheme of things, we already drew 3 cards. So oh no, it turns our draw 4 into a draw 3. What a shame, right? But yeah, anyways, we can banish our white binder with our effect. You can special summon whatever, doesn't really matter. And then the white binder, assuming you banish it with your trap card, can summon itself back, and then we draw another card. So we draw a 4th card. So now we have 9 cards in hand. So now we have 9 cards in hand. We have the banish still. Our opponent's graveyard was banished, and we still have the MTP. So yeah, basically this is, yeah, the Appaloosa alone probably already just makes this board like near unbreakable. But it's not just the board they have to deal with. It's also the 5 hand traps that we have in our hand that they have to play through with Malice as well. That's what makes this deck so strong. Well, yeah, that's like the 1-card Dormouse. It's like the 1-card Malice and White Rabbit combo, except it plays through hand traps better. It draws you 4 cards that it has an Appaloosa on the field. Yeah. Malice. So next is the 1-card Malice and Underground field spell comp. Don't worry about this stuff in graveyard. This stuff is literally just allures I use to banish irrelevant cards. But yeah, 1-card Malice and Underground, nothing else. So you're gonna activate Malice in Underground, and since we didn't start with Mouse, we're going to banish Dormouse. That's gonna trigger Dormouse to special summon itself. And then you're gonna use Dormouse, and you're going to banish your White Rabbit, then use Rabbit, special summon itself, and then Rabbit is going to set GWC. Next, you're going to link these two into Splash Mage, and then Splash Mage revive whichever ones, doesn't really matter. And then you're going to link into your red ransom. And here, red ransom, since you already started with Malice and Underground, you're going to red ransom, add mirror, Malice in the mirror, and then you're going to GWC, banish the red ransom, and special summon back your rabbit. So it doesn't really matter which one. And then you're going to use red ransom because it's banished. You can special summon itself back. And then you're going to red ransom, banish your Chessy Cat from deck, and then Chessy Cat is going to special summon itself. And here, since we added the Malice in the mirror, we can use Chessy Cat's effect, banish the Malice in the mirror to draw 2 cards. Nice, and then use Malice in the mirror. Gonna banish Mouse, and we're going to use it to search our copy of March Hare. Next, you're gonna link your Chessy Cat into the link decoder, and the hare that you just searched, you're gonna use hare, gonna banish the Chessy Cat, and here you're going to link 3 of these into white binder. It doesn't really matter which ones you use, but you can use decoder, hare, and red ransom. into White Binder. Here, we don't have to use White Binder's effect. If your opponent obviously throws some random hand traps at you, and like if they have stuff in the graveyard, you can use White Binder to banish that. But we already have like 3 banished Malice cards in our banish zone, so we don't need to set up our banish zone anymore with White Binder. So you don't have to use White Binder. So you can just use Link Decoder to revive itself. And now you're going to use White Binder, and you're going to reset GWC. And link all 3 of these into Cryptor. And now your end board is going to be Cryptor plus GWC with Ransom White Binder engrave. So doesn't look like doesn't look like too much, but this is really a lot, because again you have the Cryptor banish, you have GWC, which if you remember the sequencing, you want a GWC, revive Binder. Binder can then banish your opponent's stuff, and then it can also banish Red Ransom and Rabbit. Then special summon Rabbit. Rabbit will then set the MT-07, and then you can use the MT-07 to banish another card your opponent controls. To banish the White Binder, the White Binder will then summon itself back. And then you can draw another card, and keep in mind you also drew a card. You drew 2 cards off the Chessy Cat, so you have like that many interruptions plus like 3 draws off of this combo. So yeah, that's pretty good. So the next 1-card combo is gonna be just Gold Sark. So I'm gonna set this cross out so we don't get bothered by its prompts anymore, and then we're gonna use Gold Sark. And since we didn't start with Dormouse, we're going to Gold Sark for Dormouse, and that's going to summon the Dormouse. And then we can use Dormouse, and we're going to use Dormouse effect, and we're going to banish White Rabbit now, and we're going to use White Rabbit. Since we already triggered Dormouse effect, we have to get White Rabbit in this case, since we're not going to get the special summon this again if it gets banished. So the normal line to go Decoder and Hair to banish Dormouse doesn't work. So instead we're going to go White Rabbit, and when White Rabbit is summoned, set GWC, and then White Rabbit plus Dormouse go into Splash Mage. Splash Mage revives whatever, doesn't matter, because we're just going to link it immediately into Red Ransom. So we go into Red. That's going to trigger Red's effect, and we're going to add Malice and Underground. And here we're going to use GWC, banish the Red Ransom to summon back the Dormouse. And now that the Red Ransom got banished, it's been triggered to summon itself back. And then we're going to banish our Chessy Cat. And then Chessy Cat will special summon itself. And here, we're going to pretend that we don't have this Malice in the mirror in hand. If we had another random Malice card in hand, we could use Chessy Cat to pot greed and draw 2 right now, but we're going to pretend that this was just a 1-card Gold Star combo, so we don't have anything else relevant in hand. So instead we're just going to link off the Chessy Cat into Link Decoder, and then we're going to link all 3 of these into White Binder, and we're going to use White Binder effect. We're going to banish just target Dormouse, because we want the Dormouse banished for later, and then the Link Decoder will summon itself back. And then we can use our Malice and Underground, and Malice and Underground we're going to banish our March Hare, then March Hare will add itself back, and we'll use a White Binder to reset the GWC. And we're going to use March Hare effect, and we're going to banish our Chessy Cat engrave to leave White Binder, leave Red Ransom and Rabbit in the graveyard. And then we're going to link all 3 of these into our Hearts Cryptor. And now we get this familiar end board. So we get a Hearts Cryptor, GWC with Red Ransom and White Rabbit engrave. And I'm sure by now you guys all know what to do with the GWC, reviving a White Binder, banishing White Rabbit, summon itself back, place the MTP, banish the White Binder, draw another card, and then banish the Thunderfluence monster. So yeah, from the previous combo line, so yeah, the 1-card Gold Sark lets you get here, and we didn't use a normal summon yet, so if we had any other Maliss name, we could also extend by, quote-unquote extend by normal summoning, but yeah, that's just the 1-card Gold Sark combo. So now on to 2-card combos, and the best 2-card combo, and honestly the best combo in the deck, is probably Dormouse plus a Bystial. This plays through like so many hand traps, and the end board you get from it is also crazy. So yeah, this is why Bystials are maybe the best extenders in the Maliss deck. But yeah, we're gonna normal summon Dormouse, and I'm gonna use Dormouse, banish Hair, and then add the Hair back. So this is all similar at first. And next we're gonna link off the Dormouse into a link decoder. And here, instead of using the Hair, because we have a Bystial instead, we can use the Bystial to banish our Dormouse and keep the Hair in hand. So yeah, we're gonna banish the Dormouse, special the Bystial, and you know, it happens to be Magnemite, so Magnemite is also broken. But Dormouse and Magnemite will trigger. And then the Dormouse will summon itself back. And then we can link all 3 of these into Red Ransom, because Red Ransom does not require Cybers or Maliss only monsters. It only requires 1, so you can use generic materials like a Bystial in order to go to Red Ransom. So now we're going to Red Ransom, and then this is gonna look a lot similar to the 1-card Dormouse combo from this point on. But yeah, we're going to use Red Ransom and Red Mouse. The hell is that? That's it. Yeah, the Red Ransom plus Link Decoder. Link Decoder is gonna special itself back, and then the Red Ransom, like in the 1-card combo, you're gonna get your Maliss Underground. You're gonna make your Appaloosa immediately, and then you're gonna go Underground, banish Mirror. Should all look similar from the 1-card Dormouse combo. And then Mirror will banish your Red Ransom. And then search your Rabbit. And then Red Ransom, summon itself back. Ransom, banish Chessy Cat. Chessy Cat, summon itself back. And then Chessy Cat, we're going to use Chessy Cat, banish your Rabbit that you just searched, draw 2 cards. Hell yes. Nice. And then Rabbit is going to trigger to summon itself back, and then the Rabbit will set the GWC. And now link off Rabbit and Ransom, or like it doesn't matter which would really matter which two you link off, but you're gonna link 2 of these off into your Splash Mage, and then you're gonna use Splash Mage, revive, whatever, doesn't really matter. And then you're gonna make White Binder using Splash Mage and another Maliss monster. And then White Binder, you're gonna use White Binder to banish the Dormouse from your graveyard, and then if your opponent has anything else, obviously again you can banish from your grave, but you can just banish the Dormouse for follow-up on the next turn. And then you're going to use GWC, banish the White Binder, then that's gonna summon back your Rabbit, or yeah, summon back your Rabbit from your graveyard, and then you're going to use your White Binder, summon itself back, you get to draw another card, so if you drew 3 cards, hell yeah, nice draw, and then White Binder, reset your GWC, and now you're going to link all 3 of these into Cryptor. And now this random here, so that was basically just the 1-card Dormouse combo we just did with Bystial, and now we have this extra hair in hand that we never even used, that we have since that we've had since the beginning of the turn. We can use this hair. We're gonna banish our Chessy Cat and graveyard, and then special the hair, and now we can link hair and Chessy Cat we're gonna link Hair and Heartscriptor into a Firewall Dragon. So now, on top of the normal board, we also get a Firewall Dragon on the field. And this Firewall Dragon, it's pointing at Appaloosa right now. This Firewall Dragon, it's gonna point at a lot more at the end of the at the end of the turn. So we're gonna set this and like just to show you how insane this setup is, because we have the Heartscriptor in graveyard along with White Rabbit, White Binder, and Red Ransom. We can do a whole lot with this, and this Heartscriptor, you know, this Heartscriptor is gonna summon back during our opponent's turn. But yeah, we're gonna go end phase. Also, we got a Magnemite Search too, so we can search another Bystial. Awesome, right? And yeah, pass to our opponent, and then let's see how we play this out. So I'm just waiting. Your opponent's gonna go Blaze Accelerator. Okay, so I'm gonna GWC now. Okay, so GWC is gonna summon back our White Binder, obviously, and we're gonna use White Binder, gain life points, and use White Binder's effect. And let's say our opponent had a card that we wanted to banish. So with this White Binder, we're gonna banish Red Ransom and White Rabbit, obviously, since those are the best two banishes, and we're gonna pretend that our opponent had another card that we wanted to banish from the graveyard. So let's pretend the White Binder banished a card from our opponent's graveyard, and we're gonna banish White Rabbit and Red Ransom as well with the White Binder. So now it's gonna trigger White Rabbit and Red Ransom, and that's gonna summon back the Red Ransom. Now we can summon the Red Ransom to this zone, and we can banish our March Hare from deck. And White Rabbit is gonna summon itself back, and we're gonna use White Rabbit, Chainlink 1 White Rabbit, Chainlink 2 Red Ransom, and Chainlink 3 Hare. Hare is gonna add itself back to hand. So yeah, I'm gonna add the Hare back. And now Red Ransom will add our Malice Underground for follow-up, and the White Rabbit is gonna set the MTP, and then we're going to use our MTP that we just set, and we're gonna banish the White Binder, and then add another card back to our hand for follow-up. We're gonna banish our opponent's card. The White Binder is gonna summon itself back. And now we get to draw another card off the White Binder, and now we have 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have 10 cards in hand, and now we have both of our Link 3 balances back. So now this Firewall Dragon is pointing at 3 monsters. So we also have 3 bounces off the Firewall Dragon. We can bounce 3 monsters because this card is co-linked 3 times as well. So our opponent's gonna do something, and they're not gonna do much, it appears. But just to show like what else we can do, we can use Firewall Dragon. So here I'm going to use Firewall Dragon first as part of this sequencing. So we're going to use Firewall Dragon, and we're going to bounce our opponent's monster. We're going to bounce our White Rabbit back to hand because we actually want to clear a zone. So I want to actually bounce this White Rabbit back to my hand. And you know that Bystial that we used at the start? Remember that Bystial we used to do this combo? Yeah, let's add our Bystial back to hand as well. So we bounce 3 cards, including our White Rabbit and our Bystial, and now that our field is a bit more clear, we can use March Hare. March Hare will banish the Heartscriptor engrave, and then special summon and then the Heartscriptor gets banished, and the Heartscriptor can summon itself back. So now we have the Heartscriptor too. So we still get access to the Heartscriptor on our opponent's turn as well, and yeah, we're going to, Heartscriptor, why not? Put back the Malice in the mirror, and then we're going to banish another one of our opponent's cards. So this entire thing was like, by the way, we have 1, 2, 3. Let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We have 12 cards in hand. I didn't even use Max C. We drew 4 cards to this combo. This entire combo, it's the same. It's the similar setup. We had all the Malice interruptions. We get the MTP. We get the Heartscriptor, we get the Appaloosa, we get the White Binder, we get all that stuff, and we have a Firewall Dragon that bounces 3. And the Firewall Dragon also bounces the Bystial that we used back to our hand, so we had another interruption off that. and we drew 4 cards, and we have 12 cards in hand. So yeah, seems seems pretty good, right? It seems not bad, right? Draw phase. Since it's our turn, we can use Heart Scripter again, and just use it in the draw phase and banish our opponent's last card. Nice. And it's a 5k attack, and yeah. Man, I don't think I gotta say more about this, but yeah, there's note that sequencing on our opponent's turn. It's very important now, because with the Firewall Dragon, you can do your sequencing, and you can even add more, and like make sure that you have 2 zones clear when you use your March Hare to banish your Heart Scripter, so that you can summon your Heart Scripter back too. Obviously, if your opponent also gets rid of one of your monsters somehow on their turn, and they clear a monster zone for you, then you don't even have to use the Firewall to bounce your own monster back. You can, as long as you have 2 free slots, just make sure you add the Hare to your hand using the Red Ransom, so that you can Hare banish the Heart Scripter during your opponent's turn, so you can also get the Heart Scripter Interrupt on top of everything else. So the next 2-card combo is Chessy Cat plus Bystial. Now Chessy Cat is like the one Maliss name that's not a 1-card combo by itself. It's not unlike Dormouse and White Rabbit, which are 1-card combos. This Chessy Cat, you need an extender to work with this, but Bystials are like the best extender in this deck. So yeah, Chessy Cat plus Bystial is actually really broken. So start with normal summon Chessy Cat, because all we can do is normal summon Chessy Cat and link into Decoder at first. And then we're going to use our Bystial, and we're going to banish the Chessy Cat from grave. And then it's going to trigger our Chessy Cat and our Magnema, because Magnema is also quite a broken card in this game. But yeah, so the special back our Chessy Cat. Now we have 3 monsters, and we can go into Red Ransom. So yeah, Red Ransom with these 3. And then use a Red Ransom Chainlink 1, Decoder Chainlink 2, and yeah, Decoder is going to special summon itself back, and then the Ransom is going to add our Underground, and now we can make Appaloosa. Don't you love hearing that? So Appaloosa, and then we're going to use Underground, banishing our Mirror, and that's going to trigger Mirror. We're just going to banish our Red Ransom, and then we're going to add our March Hare to hand, then trigger Red Ransom since it was banished by the Mirror. We're going to special itself, and then Ransom is going to banish Mouse, and then Dormouse is going to special summon itself back. Now we get Dormouse access. Now we're going to use Mouse, and we're going to banish our White Rabbit, and then special our White Rabbit, and then Rabbit is going to set GWC. And now we're going to link our Mouse and whatever one, doesn't really matter, but make sure you link off Mouse and then one of your other 2 monsters into a Splash Mage. You're going to use Splash Mage, revive your Chessy Cat, and then we're going to go into White Binder using Splash Mage plus Chessy Cat. And don't use White Binder's effect unless your opponent has some random card you want to banish, because we actually want to keep all of our Maliss monsters in grave right now, so we don't want to have anything that we want to banish from our graveyard for this combo. But I mean, if your opponent has like a random impermanent you want to like play around Purge or something, I don't know, you can do that, but don't use White Binder to banish any of your own cards. And then you're going to use GWC to banish White Binder and reborn your Chessy Cat. And that's going to trigger White Binder to summon itself back. And then you get to draw a card. And yeah, again, don't use White Binder's effect if you don't need to. And now, because you revive your Chessy Cat, it's no longer revived by Splash Mage, it's got revived by the GWC. You can now use your Chessy Cat to banish your Hare that you've been storing in your hand, and you get to draw 2 cards. So woo, nice. And then your hair will trigger, and then the hair will add itself back to the hand. And then hair can banish your Dormouse, because, well, we want to keep both GWC and Ransom in your graveyard for obvious reasons. So this is why we didn't use White Binder to banish any of our own monsters, because we want this mouse still in graveyard so that we can banish it for hair. And then White Binder, reset your GWC. And then White Binder plus 3 into Cryptor. And then the final part is you're gonna link the Cryptor and the March Hare into Firewall Dragon. And now we have the familiar setup with Appaloosa, Firewall Dragon, and we have Hare, Heart Cryptor, Rabbit, and White Binder engraved. So we have Cryptor, White Rabbit, White Binder, and Red Ransom all in graveyard, ready to be used on our opponent's turn. So yeah, that's the one card, not the one, Jesus. That's the Chessy Cat plus any Bystial combo. Again, really good. Almost as good as the Dormouse combo. Plays not as good as playing on hand traps, but still gets you basically the best end board in the deck. And we also drew 3 cards, by the way. So yeah. So this line might be semi-important, but this is the Dormouse combo if you get Mulcharmy Fuwalos. Now, I will say is that if you're playing Fuwalos and you're using Fuwalos versus a Maliss opponent, you generally want to wait as long as possible before using the Fuwalos, because depending on if your opponent knows that they're under Fuwalos or not, it's going to change what they do, and it's going to change their banishes off Dormouse, for example, as you'll see. However, a lot of the times people will play cards like Allure of Darkness, for example, and if you throw an Allure of Darkness down, your opponent is probably going to want to Mulcharmy Fuwalos you on chaining to Allure of Darkness, because they don't want you to draw into your Mulcharmy outs, such as, Ash Blossom or Call by the Grave. So yeah, that's when they will preemptively Fuwalos you, and then you'll know you're under Fuwalos. So if you know you're under Fuwalos, here's what you do with just the one Dormouse combo. So you're gonna go Dormouse, and since you know you're under Fuwalos, you're not gonna banish Hare, you're going to banish White Rabbit. And this is why I said it's best to hold Fuwalos, because if they don't know that they're under Fuwalos yet, they will most likely banish Hare instead of White Rabbit, and then the Hare line plays worse in the Fuwalos than the Rabbit line. But yeah, so here we're gonna banish Rabbit since we know we're under Fuwalos. We're gonna use Rabbit and we're gonna set GWC. And then with these two, you're going to link these two not into Splash Mage but into Haggard Lizardos. Haggard Lizardos, give your opponent 1 draw off Fuwalos, and then Haggard, banish your Dormouse, and just target itself. Then Dormouse is gonna trigger and summon itself back. And now you're gonna go into Red Ransom using these two, and give your opponent 2 Fuwalos draws. And Red Ransom effect. Red Ransom is going to add your Maliss in the Mirror to hand, because did you know Maliss in the Mirror has an on-field effect too? It's not just a card that you banished with other cards. It has an on-field effect where you can target a face of monster your opponent controls, banish 1 Maliss monster from your hand or face-up field, and then negate that monster's effect at the end of the turn. So this is basically an in-archetype in-perm as well, as an on-field effect. So we're gonna search this, and then we're just gonna end on that, and then yeah, this is going to be the line into Fuwalos, assuming, again, that your opponent preemptively Fuwalos you, and you know you're under Fuwalos. You do this line. So you give your opponent 2 draws, you end on Red Ransom, GWC, and Maliss in the Mirror. And now, for example, what you would do and how you would play these interactions out, let's go to our opponent's turn, let's see if they do anything. Place a monster on field so that I can negate it, please. Please summon a monster. I beg you. Yeah, okay, good. We're going to summon Volcanic Rocket, so now we're going to use Maliss in the Mirror. Maliss in the Mirror can negate their monster. And now Maliss in the Mirror is going to banish our Red Ransom. And the Red Ransom, now that it's banished, can trigger, so we're going to use Red Ransom. Put himself back. Use Red Ransom effect. Let's banish our March Hare from deck. Now trigger Red Ransom. and March Hare, so we can add our March Hare back to our hand. And then Red Ransom will add us our Maliss and Underground for follow-up. And here we can, for example, use our March Hare, banish the Maliss in the mirror that we just put in the graveyard that we just used. Summon the March Hare. This will trigger the Maliss in the mirror. Now Maliss in the mirror can banish a card from our graveyard, so we're going to banish White Rabbit. And then you can add a card to our hand for follow-up, like Chessy Cat, for example. And then that's going to trigger our White Rabbit. Now we're going to summon our White Rabbit. And White Rabbit will set our MTP7. And we don't have a White Binder to banish for the MTP7, so what we could do is you can use GWC to revive, for example, your Dormouse. And keep in mind that this entire time we didn't need to use GWC, but we could use GWC. For example, if your opponent wanted to like called by our White Rabbit at any point, we could have used GWC to chain to the called by to protect our White Rabbit from called by. But you know, let's assume they didn't have it, so now we can instead we can use like a GWC to revive the Dormouse, gain some life points, and then we can use our MTP-07 to banish our Dormouse because it's the only one that hasn't triggered yet, and add another card to our hand for follow-up. And then we can banish our opponent's card, and then our Dormouse can summon itself back, and now we get the now we get that. So yeah, our opponent just died to 2 interactions. But yeah, that's the Maxi line. Or not the Maxi line. That's the Fuwalos line. The Fuwalos line gives your opponent 2 draws to set up basically a mirror, a Maliss in a mirror, a monster negate, plus a convoluted way to get our White Rabbit to set our MTP-07 to banish our opponent's monster. So it's still a negate and a banished. And of course, because it's Maliss, it gets us like 20 million forms of follow-up. So we still start our next turn with 7 cards in hand, 4 monsters on field. And because that was the 1-card combo, we also had 4 other cards in hand that could have been non-enchant as well. So, yeah, that's the anti-Fuwalos line. And next, I'll show you an example deck list that doesn't play Terahertz or the TB-11 trap card. So this is an example Maliss list without TB-11 and without the Terahertz package in the extra deck. So we saved 3 slots in the extra deck, and we saved a slot in the main deck, and we can cut a brick in the main deck. So yeah, as you can see, I'm still... I had 9k gems. If you saw my video, I had 9.8k gems. I rolled like 90 packs. I'm still missing this many cards. Even after crafting a couple, like I'm still... Like I'm dry on URCP, and I'm still missing cards from this deck, but yeah. The main thing is that so instead of the Terahertz package, instead of the Save Worm Aggravator and Terahertz, instead the space I put in for it. So these are some flex spots you can run in place of the Terahertz package if you don't want to play this. So now you have for example, Link Spider, Nightmare Cerberus, Nightmare Phoenix, and Dark. These are the main flex spots people generally put in place of the Terahertz package, and they all have their own utility. Link Spider, for example, lets you play around Nib extremely easily to the point where like any line involving Dormouse now easily plays through Nib. With Link Spider, even easier. You have Nightmare Cerberus and Nightmare Phoenix. Nightmare Phoenix, we all know, just generic Link 2 in a Link deck is obviously important, or that gets rid of Spell and Trap. That's back row remove, gets rid of Spell and Traps is obviously very good. And Nightmare Cerberus is honestly, the main point of Nightmare Cerberus is that your opponents, some people are going to be playing Chaos Hunter to, people are going to be really down bad against Maliss, especially early on when, 90% of the ladder seems to be Maliss. So yeah, you're going to see some Chaos Hunters along the way, and Nightmare Cerberus is just a quick and easy out to Chaos Hunter. So yeah, it's in a way that it's not for Lancia. So like, I still think that if you want to play an anti-banish, anti-Lancia card, or anti-Maliss card, I think Lancia is probably still better than Chaos Hunter. Even though like Lancia, in theory, Lancia can get called by the grave, but Chaos Hunter loses to any Maliss deck that plays Nightmare Cerberus, aka any Maliss deck that's not playing the Terahertz package. So, that's give or take there. And Dark, I feel like Dark right now, especially in a Maliss heavy format, Dark is really important because Dark is literally just, I mean, it's insane the mirror match. Like the Dark for the mirror match is just so good. So yeah, Dark is another card. So like these 4 slots, these 4 cards are cards that you can play in place of the Terahertz package if you want. And then yeah, so to the main deck, these are I think mostly standard ratios for the most part. Now keep in mind these Maliss names, you know what they do as part of the combo now, but all these Maliss names have bonus effects too, like secret effects, besides just being combo fodder. So for example, White Rabbit, you play 3 White Rabbit. White Rabbit has a secret effect of you take no damage involved from battles involving Maliss Link monsters that point at this card. So for example, if you have like, I mean, this is probably the least relevant effect because your Maliss monsters are, you know, generally the ones that have the most attack in the first place. So like if they get run over, then you take no battle damage, but like that's not the most relevant of these effects. But yeah, you run 3 White Rabbit, you run 3 Dormouse. Dormouse is the best one, and Dormouse is secret effect that Maliss Link monsters this card's point to cannot be destroyed by card effects. So that's neat. And also its main effect, mainly you use it to banish a monster, but it also gives all your Maliss monsters 600 attack permanent. It's like Tyramin Scream. It's not just to the Maliss monsters you currently control, it's Maliss monsters for Maliss monsters that you control for the rest of this turn. So everything gains 600 attack. So that's neat. And then obviously the protection effect is also neat. Like your opponents, if they don't read your cards, or if they think they know what Maliss monsters do, but they don't know every single thing about every single card, they might miss that this also gives your Link monsters protection as well. So you run 3 Dormouse, 3 March Hare. The secret effect for March Hare is that your opponent cannot target Maliss Link monsters that point at this card with card effects. So like for example, like think of it for example, like you have a Heart Cipher or a Heart Scripter at the top, and then you manage to get a March Hare and a Dormouse pointing to the down in these 2 downwards arrows, so that the Heart Scripter is pointing to both a Dormouse and a March Hare. So now your Heart Scripter now, for example, can now not be targeted by card effects and cannot be destroyed by card effects. So you essentially turn your Maliss Link monster into a semi-towers as well. And obviously you don't take any battle damage if they attack over your Heart Scripter as well. But yeah, these are like secret effects that aren't the main reason you play these cards, but they do come up, especially if you can set them up on your opponent's turn after you revive and summon all your monsters during your opponent's turn. And then so yeah, you want 3 White Rabbit, 3 Dormouse, 3 March Hare. March Hare is the best extender, and then 2 to 3 Chessy Cat. So I'm playing 3 just because I want to open more names, but Chessy Cat, technically most decks I think are running this at 2. So if you want to cut Chessy Cat for like another hand trap, that's also fair, because like Chessy Cat is not a 1-card combo by itself. It has to be paired with other cards like 2-card combos, so you could run more Bystials instead to pair with Chessy Cat. But yeah, Chessy Cat's secret effect is any monster destroyed by battle with Maliss Link monster gets banished instead. So yeah, that's just something else to keep in mind. That's also not the most relevant, because a lot of times when you're attacking with Maliss Link monsters, the game's like sometimes already over, or when you're going second, in which case when you're going second a lot of time you want to try to go into Axe Code first. But yeah, it is an important fact to know that basically any monster destroyed by battle with a Maliss Link monster, it gets banished. So that's neat. Although in the mirror match, you may not want that, because obviously your opponent's Maliss monsters get triggered off of getting banished. So in the mirror match, you might not even want to use. You probably don't want to actually link Chessy Cat, have any of your Link monsters point to Chessy Cat for that reason. But yeah, that's the main Maliss monster, the main 4 Maliss monsters: 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, and then like 2 to 3 here, and then 2 Gold Sarks. Gold Sark is just more consistency. 3 Maliss Underground. Maliss Underground also has like a secret effect, quote unquote secret effect. The first one with the traps is not relevant at all, especially because we're not even playing 3 traps with Maliss and Underground. We're only playing 2. So like that's like the part where it says, well, 3 or more of your Maliss trap cards with different names are banished. Like that's literally impossible to achieve in this deck. But Yeah, the second bonus effect is the second secret effect is very important because it means that your opponent can only attack your Malice Link monsters, which means that your Appaloosa, as long as the field spell is up, your opponent is never going to be able to attack your Appaloosa. So that's fair, right? And then one Malice in the Mirror, obviously you mainly use for advantage effect, but you saw with the anti-Fuwa line that this card, if you draw this card also has an on-field monster negate effect as well. Just keep that in mind too. It's also an interruption. And then just one MTP and one GWC. These cards, you can, if you hard draw them, you can set them to play around Imperm on your normal summon, but you don't want to draw these, obviously. That's why we're not running multiple copies of these, obviously, and we're not running the TB-11 because these cards are kind of bricks. They're useless by themselves, and they also are very bad going second because, again, they're trap cards. And yeah, the main thing you might be wondering is that a lot of decks are also playing Allure. I also alluded to decks playing Allure. So the reason that I don't like Allure in Malice is mainly because there might be a lot of trolls playing around. Because Malice is a deck that's really good into Droll, which means that Malice is a deck that's really good into Droll and really bad into Maxi. So what that means is that Malice is a deck, much like Feinsome Snake Eyes in previous formats, you can use Droll on your opponent's Maxi and use Droll on your opponent's Fuwalos, and Droll yourself in order to continue playing as an anti-Maxi, anti-Fuwalos line. Which, it's why I'm playing 3 Droll in this list, because you can use Droll as an out to Maxi and Fuwalos, sort of. It gives you more outs, so basically one of the few turn-ending hand traps that actually are good against Malice. So like basically, if a lot of the times against Malice, it's basically Maxi, Fuwalos, Lancia, Chaos Hunter, or nothing, basically, or bust. Like your opponent opens Dormouse Bystial, I mean, regular hand traps are not going to stop that. So basically, it's only the floodgate ones, like the draw effects ones, that do. And then Droll and Lockbird being a sort of a suitable out to these draw type hand traps is important. However, that also means that if people are using Droll as anti-Maxi, anti-Fuwalos, they're also gonna Droll also destroys Allure of Darkness. Like this deck normally does not care about Droll. However, if you activate Allure and then you get Drolled, that's a lot more annoying than it should be. But yeah, that's why I'm opting to not run Allure as of right now, because there might be a lot of people playing Droll. We'll see how the Droll play rate goes up and down. If people start dropping Droll, when they start realizing that Droll is just a terrible hand trap, but yeah, then you might see Allure of Darkness rise. But if people are on Droll to Droll Fool and Droll Maxi, then I would not run Allure in that place, because Allure just plays directly into that. And yeah, then the rest of the hand traps, obviously Maxi and Ash Blossom, because like you have to. One Fuwalos for the cross sell, you could play more Fuwalos, because Fuwalos is one of the few hand traps that's good against Malice. One Lancia for so Lancia is as a cross out target. So Lancia is interesting. It's also it's like anti-Malice, but also randomly Lancia is also anti-Call by the Grave. So in a way, it can also push through your own Maxis and your own Fuwalos more, because you can Lancia your opponent's Call by. So yeah, don't you guys love just more metagame, like more cards introduced into the Maxi metagame? It also has like random effects where like technically you can use this on your opponent's turn so that your opponent cannot Call by the Grave your White Binder when you revive it off of your GWC, for example. But then that's also not good, because then that stops you from using all your interruptions, all your Malice interruptions as well. So it's not like you even if you're using Lancia on a Call by on your own White Binder, that's still not good for you. Like you don't want to use Lancia while you have a board, because Lancia will actively stop you from using your interruptions. All your interruptions are in the form of banishes. So like you don't want to do that. So like that's kind of why I'm sort of against playing 3 Lancia right now, even in the mirror match, especially because you will still be playing decks that aren't the mirror. But it's an option to consider. You can run more Lancia as well, just like Fuwa. 3 Bystials. I don't want to run too many Bystials, because Bystials, despite being the best extenders in the deck, they're also some of the worst hand traps in the mirror match too. Like Bystials, they're really bad in mirror match, especially because we have Appaloosa here too. a lot of times, like, if you have a Bystial, you would think that it'd be okay if you just wait until the end and then try to, like, you know, banish their White Binder engrave so that their GWC can't revive it on their turn, so that you turn out the White Binder at least or something like that. But in reality, they're probably going to have an Appaloosa on the field at that point, in which case then the Bystial just doesn't even do anything. It will never be, there will rarely be anything profitable for you to hit with your Bystial. Like, at most, you can maybe hit a Link Decoder for, like, you can deny, like, one material from your opponent. And then, yeah, these really aren't great. Like, these are great, as good as these cards are as extenders, they're just as bad as actual hand traps in the formats, as in the Malice Mirror. So it's why I'm not running that many. And you could potentially cut a Pauldrick and run more other non-engine instead. For example, like, Imperm Impulse. Impulse is a very good hand trap. It's obviously it's not going to be enough to stop Malice by itself, but, like, it's still good. And this is a deck that can run Impulse. Keep in mind that Impulse does conflict with certain hand traps. For example, Fuwalos. Just use Fuwalos before Impulse. Same with Droll. Use Droll before Impulse. Or honestly, sometimes just forget about Droll, because Droll, a lot of matchups, especially in the Malice Mirror match, Droll isn't even that good if they don't allure, so, like, you can just honestly just give up on trolling your opponent and just fire off the Impulse anyways. You also, it conflicts with Lancia if you decide to run more Lancia. Does not conflict with Bystials. Does not conflict with Imperm, and Imperm is also good because at worst, Imperm can at least, like, maybe trade with an Appaloosa if you hold it, and Imperm also makes Impulse able to pop a card on top of negating it. Yeah, that's basically it for, like, the non-engine. And onto the extra deck, I already covered the cards you can run in place of the Terahertz package, the flex spots, if you will. The non-flex spots, or, like, the cards that are, I think, going to be run in every Malice deck in the extra deck, are Lingaribo, because this is a Cybers deck, and, you know, you have the option to play Lingaribo versus trap setups. Also, versus the mirror match, you know, they gotta play around the Lingaribo, because Lingaribo can turn off your opponent's Malice traps as well. So yeah, that's something to keep in mind. Link Decoder is necessary. Slash Mage, obvious. SP, Lizardos, as you saw for the Fuwalos line, and other random lines. Red Ransom, White Binder, 1 Heart Scripter, these are just all one-ofs. Firewall Dragon, a Appaloosa, and an Access Code. So Access Code is really broken because you make this going second, and then use Access Code, you banish your own White Binder, you banish your own Malice monster in your graveyard. You can pop your opponent's cards, then trigger your own Malice monsters. It's, like, insanely broken if you can get the Access Code talker. And yeah, about Appaloosa. Okay, so here's the thing. Okay, people will say Dominance Impulse conflicts with Appaloosa. Okay, I'm gonna blow your mind. Okay, if you go first and you make Appaloosa, and you have Dominance Impulse in hand, you set Dominance Impulse, and then Dominance Impulse does not turn off your Appaloosa anymore. Like, I know it's mind-blowing stuff, but yeah. And going second, like, you don't make Appaloosa. You really don't make Appaloosa going second, like, barely at all. So, like, it's not much of a conflict if you have the Impulse, because if you're going second and you can get to a Link 4, you're probably going for Access Code to just kill your opponent instead of going Appaloosa. And Impulse does not conflict with Access Code. So yeah, it's really, Appaloosa does really not conflict with Impulse as much as, like, you would think on the surface. And also, another option you can run in the extra deck is IP Masquerena. Again, it's a card that you can run in the flex spots that you cut the Terahertz package for. So, for example, you can run this in place of, like, a Link Spider or Cerberus or Phoenix, or I probably wouldn't cut Dark. I think Dark is pretty much near a staple, at least in this format. So maybe you can cut one of these 3 cards for a IP Masquerena if you want to as well. But yeah, that's a sample Malice deck, and hopefully by now at the end of this video, you should be able to, you know, practice and then play Malice at least at a semi-common level now, so that you can continue learning to play the deck and getting better with the deck. But yeah, thanks for watching.